What's the worst thing you've ever heard a teacher say at school? I was at rugby practice, and we were doing stretches and we were all lying on the ground and my friend has his head positioned close to my other friend's crotch. My friend says quite loudly, "It looks like you're about to suck my dick." When he realized that our coach, who is also a teacher at our school, heard him, he started to apologize for swearing. When our coach says he wants a meal, not a snack. 5th grade teacher responds to a student who said they wanted to kill themselves with "Good, you'd be doing your family a favor." Used to have an alcoholic teacher who, when handing out textbooks, slammed one down in front of a larger boy in our class, pointed at him, and said, "Don't eat it." Yeah, the kid cried. In 6th grade, there was an Indian girl in our class, and she was getting teased because of the way she smelled. She didn't smell bad, she just smelled like Indian food, and our teacher did this thing where she would pull a student into the hall and talk to them either about bullying or being bullied. Well, she took this girl into the hall and had one of her talks with her. The teacher then comes back into class and tells us all that she had a talk with the girl and explained to her that maybe her family could eat their more traditional foods on the weekends and more American foods during the week. I will never forget being 11 to 12 and thinking, is she crazy? I felt so bad for the girl. I told my mom about it when I got home that day, so my mom started packing me Syrian lunches. My mom was half Syrian and called the teacher and bitched her out for it. The teacher then apologized to the class and the little girl. My 8th grade science teacher would pick on this one girl in the front row. One time he was going to make a joke about her breath being so bad he could see it. Instead he said, "I can see your breasts," to a 14-year-old girl. Age of 9. Lost my father in a horrific accident. I returned to school a few days later, and after attendance was taken, the teacher said to me in front of the class got together and sent flowers to your father's funeral. I paid your share, so make sure you bring in $2 to more hours I need to be paid back. She then went on with the lessons. This one English teacher at my school once told a black kid to read a passage in some slavery novel to read it blacker. It got on the news, and she eventually just quit. She also moved into my apartment building, and I occasionally run into her, which is pretty funny. Not really the worst, but once in high school my teacher legitimately asked the blind girl in our class why she wasn't going up to check her grade on the grade sheet. I have a friend with bilateral cochlear implants. That is, he was born deaf and still has less than average hearing with the implants. Well, back in high school, he was in several of my classes. Stand-up guy, really nice, yada yada. Anyway, one day, one of our teachers asks him some banal question. Here's a transcript of the following interaction. Friend, what? Teacher, repeats question. Friend, sorry, what? Teacher, jokingly, what? Are you deaf or something? Friend, yes. Teacher looks horrified. Entire class and friend start dying laughing. Teacher apologizes profusely. Luckily, she was actually a super nice lady and basically forgot my friend was, in fact, deaf without his implants. When I was in high school, my teacher was trying to bring up a PowerPoint on the projection screen. She still needed to log into her account. We all watched as she forgot to hit tab to go to her password and type in "fuck the shit." That was the quietest I have ever heard a high school classroom. Not all Mexicans are from Mexico. Some are from El Salvador. BCOM professor. My history teacher called himself Big Daddy. Woodshop teacher telling a Nation kid he doesn't really need to wear a face shield on the lathe. You know, because of the eyes. He meant it as a joke, but even at 15 we all kind of hushed and looked at each other like, dude, did he just fucking say that? In 1st grade there was one boy in our class, Reggie, who lived in a van. Most of us kids knew about it because a counselor had come round to talk to the class after someone had teased him about not changing his clothes. The counselor did a great job explaining to us that now was the time he needed support and friendship, and so us kids were all pretty nice to him after that. Then after winter break we were all sitting around at sharing time talking about what we got for Christmas and Reggie said he got a Super Nintendo. We knew this probably wasn't true, but we went along with it, so he wouldn't feel bad. But the teacher totally called him out on it, saying you've got a Nintendo in your van? Nobody likes a liar, Reggie. The kid just wilted. It was awful and just the pure lack of compassion she showed has stuck in my memory for 25 years. When I was about 9, our teacher asked the class what we wanted to be when we grew up. One kid said he wanted to be a bin man, a garbage man. For US readers, the teacher went into a rant, saying that jobs like these were for the lowest, most unintelligent people in society, and that he should aspire to be better than that. Finally she asked why he wanted to be a bin man anyway. Because my dad's one, said the kid, by now in tears. I'm late to the party, but by far the worst thing was what my grade 6 teacher screamed at us. We'd been doing something kids do, probably talking, and she went off at a class of 30 12-year-olds screaming, I hope you all get your heads bashed in at high school. A teacher told the story of when he was working at a girls' summer camp. The showers had broken down, and he had to go fix it for the girls who were mid-shower. They had the girls put their faces to the walls for some reason. Naked bums all along the walls. He told it as if it was a funny anecdote. I was creeped the fuck out and can't imagine how the girls who were going to said camp felt about the story. When I was a senior in high school I had a teacher tell me that if I wanted to kill myself I had to follow the highway, not cross it, while making cutting motions. Stop shouting for context. I was screaming I'm on fire. My hair is on fire. He lit me on fire. Male teacher was talking about the dress code to me and a friend of mine during lunch. He stated he doesn't like seeing a bunch of fatties in short shorts, but then gestured towards a thin girl in short shorts walking up the step and said but that I don't mind. Late to the party of course, but what the teacher said wasn't horrible until we learned more a couple weeks later. My 9th grade science teacher was talking about molecular bonds or something, and as an example called a girl up in front of the class, saying she was one atom, and he was another, and they were attracted to each other, and if they were married they would form a new molecule. The girl he called up looked super uncomfortable, but at the time it seemed harmless. Turns out they were having an affair, and he kept telling her that he was going to leave his wife for her. She was 15. When he didn't, and tried to break it off with her a couple of weeks later she went and told on him. After that he ended up in prison for a couple years. Biology teacher told a white girl who liked tanning beds, if you get any DOCA they will make you sit at the back of the bus. I know you said worst, but I just am always looking for a reason to share this. My sociology professor in college once stopped mid-lecture, looked around the room, said don't ever get roadhead while riding a motorcycle. There, don't say I never taught you anything. And then walked out an hour early. One day in a history class my professor, who is at least 80 years old, was talking about bedfellows in Victorian England and was saying how common it was for men to sleep together. He used himself as an example and said that he used to sleep with his grandfather all the time as a child. After he said that, though, he looked at the ground and said to himself, audibly, I still wonder to this day if he molested me. Then he looked back at us, shrugged, and said, oh well, too late to know for sure now. It was fascinating to see someone overcome deep-seated trauma so quickly. I don't remember what started this story, but in middle school one of our teachers, married, told us about an old boyfriend she had. Apparently he was a really nice guy, but they broke up due to distance. She remarked something along the lines of, looking back on it, that's a dumb reason to break up. Then someone asks, if you could go back, would you stay together and marry him? Oh yeah, definitely. Cue an awkward silence in the classroom. Finally someone asks what's on everyone's minds. But, what about your son? Oh, we could always have another lamb. Extremely awkward since she just discreetly admitted to a bunch of 12-year-olds that she apparently isn't attached or deeply in love with her current husband or son, the latter who she'd be fine with replacing for another kid with the same name. Yikes. One of my college professors straight up said one day, from my experience, African American students tend to drop my class the most. It's probably too hard for them. Any of you notice how we haven't seen that one black chick who used to sit in the front row for weeks now? Thanks for watching. We greatly appreciate your support of our channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe for more interesting Reddit content. Feel free to yeet on over to one of our other videos. Everything's interesting when you are browsing with a green boy eye. #ClubPepe.